And we are live. Some people are just in so much of a hurry. We are live. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is the Millionaire Ladies Mob. It is Thursday evening at 8:30 in the East and 5:30 in the West. We are missing one of our ladies today. She will be back shortly. However, we are glad to be here with you today. We are going to be revisiting a topic that we talked about before. Ooh, let me take off these things. I can't see you guys if I'm squinting because I'm trying to look, but apparently you're not even supposed to look at the camera, or at the people. But anyway, we'll be revisiting a topic that has been dear on our minds because it keeps happening every single day. But before we get into this topic, which is gonna be juicy, I'm telling you, it's gonna be juicy. All right. Um, we're going to go ahead and have the ladies introduce themselves. So, Miss Aaliyah, Queen Aaliyah, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, hello everybody. I have a lag. I can tell. I can see it on the computer. But hello everybody and welcome to the Millionaire Ladies Mob weekly live stream. My name is Aliyah Sherrod. I have been in the insurance industry for a long time. I'm not going to say how long. I help provide solid solutions to the biggest problems today, and that is healthcare. I help those that are Medicare eligible, employer groups, and those that have just regular people save money, get incredible coverage, and eliminate anxiety about getting those bills paid. And I provide those solutions along with my friends Carmen and Saran and Shay, who's not here. If you need help, thank you and call me. I'm Aaliyah Sherrod, and you can reach me at Aaliyah 10K.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Lady Saran, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, I am Saran Baker. I can be reached at saran10k.com for all things you need. I specialize in eliminating debt, creating an income stream you cannot outlive, and helping families to live a better, secure life. I'm excited about revisiting this topic, and I look forward to our additional discussions. Let's roll.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I'm Carmen Bernard. I am your host for tonight. You can reach me at carmen10k.com. You know that I help with protecting your income, eliminating debt, creating an income stream that you cannot outlive, and it's tax free, and creating generational wealth. In addition to that, I help people with their Medicare, their health insurance, talking about their business. I'm your accountability person without having to go pay coach. I'm not saying you shouldn't go pay a coach, but you could call
Oh,
me
wait
and
a
I'm
minute. You got to pay me. You got to pay me. Yeah.
I'm not saying, go you call your coach, but guess what? You can always call me. If I know it, I'm gonna tell you. Okay.
Pay me.
And and call Saran too. She gives away stuff for free. I'm telling you the truth. I know. All right. And anyway, tonight we are talking about wills, trust, estate planning. And the thing about it is recently we've been seeing a lot of celebrities passing without wills. But this actually has been going on for years. We thought we would go and look and see, right? So, and the reason we're bringing this topic to you is because most of us do not think about it, especially when you are younger. I know I didn't think about it. I think about it more now because the more I know, I have to take some action with what I know. It's not just about knowing, but it's also about taking action. And so we want to bring awareness to you so that you will also be able to take action. Okay. So, oh, I can't even read that, but whatever. Somebody read what it says on there.
Just keep talking. It's an announcement. Keep talking.
Just keep talking. Just keep swimming, Dory. Just keep swimming. All right. So wills and wills, trust, and estate planning. Here's the thing. Most of us, when we think of estate planning, when we think about even just a simple will, or when we think about trust, we think, that doesn't really apply to me right now. I don't have anything to leave. I don't have anything. That's for rich people. That's not for me. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight that that is not true. That no matter where you are in this journey of life, as long as you're an adult, you should have a will. And moreover, if you are a parent, I don't have anything, you have children. And if you are a parent, you must have at least a will. Because what happens to those children if something should happen to you?
I have a question, not a question, but a thought. Most people think if they don't have a lot of money, or if they, they're just a regular person working a 9 to 5, maybe a house and 2 cars or whatever, and a couple kids, that a will, a trust, or whatever sounds like, oh, estate planning is like, I don't need that. But you know what? We have to start thinking outside of how the norm thought, because you said earlier that, sometimes we don't think about those things when you're younger. Well, when I was younger, I thought about that because my dad, we had a business, but we never thought we need to have a succession plan in place.
See, you get it deep, deep, deep. You get it even bigger. And here's the thing, Aaliyah, I don't want to interrupt you, because you're absolutely right what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. And I think though you and I led very different lives when we were younger, right? So you grew up where you were, for lack of better words, a privileged child, a good childhood, a parents with some money or whatever. And although they might be wealthy people, or back then they were, I didn't know any of them. I definitely was not wealthy. I grew up very poor. Those things never came across anybody's thoughts. And let me just tell you something, or at least not in my family. And that's the reason why I'm trying to make a change and do things differently, because I know it just can't be just me, that my family were the only ignorant ones walking on this planet. And I say ignorant because ignorance just means lack of knowledge. And when you say we have to speak outside the norm, but that was not the norm. It wasn't the norm to think of it. I'm going to share, Saran says this every time. Right. Saran says, let's get down in the nitty gritty. And I'm going to get down in the nitty gritty right now and be honest with you. Right. I got married really early, y'all.
Nice.
It's going to be 35 years for my husband and I. We will celebrate 35 years of marriage and been together over, 40 years. So
congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah,
I'm 35 years old. You guys been married as long as I've been alive.
I know, right? For most people, right? So, here's the thing: we got married. I was a teenager when I met my husband. And we got married soon after, right? I think it was like 23 when I got married, or something like that. Yeah, exactly 23 when I got married, and even then, this wasn't a part of our conversation. Let me tell you, the first parts of our years, we didn't really go on vacation or anything like that and leave our kids. Whatever we were doing, our kids were doing. We took our kids with us and stuff like that, right? We didn't have the kind of parents or didn't even have that big support system to be leaving our kids and going off away. Hint, hint, my kids could drop their kids at my house. I'm being honest here, nitty gritty here, and they could go wherever they want. But even though they can do that, they still need to think about and have these conversations, right? Because I remember many times it crossed my mind, we need to get a will, right? This is when the children were growing up. We need to get a will, because what happens if something happens to those kids? I mean, happens to us, and what happens to our kids? And but what used to happen was this, right? You'd have the thought, and then it'll be just a passing thought, or it'll go away while you get back to real life, right? And then when my husband and I started to be able to take some vacation someplace or traveling someplace, when every time we were getting on a plane, I would remember that. Oh my God,
Oh,
please
wow.
God, bring us back safely to our kids. And do you know, we still didn't do it. So when I'm talking about, when I'm saying getting down to the nitty gritty, what Saran says, I'm being honest with you. We still didn't do it.
Right. And we all, I mean, I'm being honest too. I knew about it, but we didn't do it right. And right, like today, I have a will, but I need more. It needs to have more. I don't have any small children, but I have grandkids now, and so when we think about will and trust, people think, oh, you got to have a lot of money, or you got to have this big estate, but it's to tell people what needs to happen if something happens to you. Even if you don't have children, if you have a house, if you have shoes, if you have a couch or whatever furnishings, you have to, somebody has to do something with that.
Let me bring Saran in. Saran, talk about your dogs, Saran, if something happens. Are they in the will? What's going on?
First of all, I'm going to talk about something more serious than where my dog goes when I go.
Girl, you don't know how important
I have had a
dogs are.
will since I was in my 20s.
Oh, good.
Because of my family situation. I've shared before that my mother passed 6 months after I graduated college, and I had 6 siblings under the age of 18. And we had to figure out guardianship and go through courts and lots of pains in the butts, right? To kind of get that settled. But the thing is that, and I've had a will for a very long time. However, like you said, Aaliyah, I stepped my game up and I got a trust to have more say so over what happens, because a trust creates privacy that a will does not. A will is important to have. However, it is an automatic invitation to probate court. And to go to probate court costs money. And as we get into some of the examples that we've pulled to talk to you tonight of our celebrities, you're going to see how much money they paid in taxes and probate expenses and different things, because some of that data is public, because they didn't have a will and they had to go to probate court. So all their business is in the streets, as they say, or on Front Street, like we say back in the day. And the thing is that, even to your pets, you need to have a directive of where your pets go to, because we don't know. When we're not here, people will find the craziest things to disagree about, or to fight, or to argue, or whatever word you want to use. It just depends on the level and the type of family or the dynamic that you come from, right? And if you have a complicated family system, then you really need to have taken the time to talk to a professional. And here's the thing. You can get a will with a licensed lawyer in your state, because the lawyer has to be licensed in your state. They now have programs where you can go through different people who are certified to help you to do them. And then, oh, by the way, like everything else, you can Google how to get a free will and trust online and use one of those templates, take it and get it notarized. Depending on your state, you need to file it with your court. In Maryland, we have the orphans court. That's the probate court, but it's called orphans court. You'll need to file it with your court, so they know something's there. I know in California, you have to file it, and that's where you are, only because my dad is there, and I went through the process with him to get his stuff straight, right? And so it just depends on your state. And here's the thing with having or not having a will. And I have this conversation with some of my family members, and I know how to talk to them, right? Because I know how they think, And one family member, I had to say, you don't want the white people to get your stuff, do you? And he was like, no. I said, well, then let's get this paperwork done, because if you don't get it done, that's where your stuff gonna go, right? And again, nothing offensive to any of my Caucasian friends at all, but this is he's Southern and he has this thing. And so I have to talk to him the way he understands things, right? He's like, all right. So next thing you know, he's like, all right, I called the lawyer, I did this, I did that, I decided to do it this way and that way or whatever. But the other thing that's important to consider, even with the will, is to have a designated beneficiary. Designate your beneficiaries and check them, right? And even in some of the cases in the celebrities that we looked at, some people forgot to change their beneficiary from their ex-wife 3 ex-wives ago.
Oh my God.
And now the first ex-wife is still in charge of everything. Imagine being the current wife and you are subject to the first ex-wife's will, So just, it's something that's so important. It's so small. I mean, you really, it takes this much time to sit down and pump in some information on the site. And I think it's freewill.com or whatever. You can go in. They don't even like show you the document. They just ask you a series of questions on a little like survey form. And at the end, it pops out a document that says, print me and take me to get me notarized. Right. Now, if you want something more, you can go to some professionals. We have resources we can connect you with to get things done, because by being licensed agents, we have resources through those different areas. I'm actually finishing a estate planning certification tomorrow, right? But certification class or whatever it's called. But the thing is nobody wants to think about dying, but guess what? It's the one thing you can't get out of. You're not getting out alive.
Seren, you said some good things there. Like you indicated you had a will from the time you were 22, and life. I feel like if we're having an echo.
Keep
Did you guys hear that?
Keep talking.
Oh man, I keep hearing the echo. But anyway, life teaches us things, right? So because of that experience that you had, that tragic experience that you had at 22, you were able to you got educated on that real quick, like they say, and you were able to take some actions. And then in addition to that, you understood now that a will is not just the only thing, because like you said, without a will, you are going to probate. With a will can still go to probate, but at least the judge, they can take into consideration the things that you have put in place, the things that you want to happen in order, but it still will go to probate. So a will not keep it private. It will go to probate, and people can contest it, right? Whether it's people that you owe or claim that you owe them, and they could provide proof or whatever, but they can all contest that will. Now, when you do a trust in most states, a trust is private, and people cannot now come attack and try to contest that will. And
hold on, let me put a pin in it. A trust is private unless something major needs to be changed on it, like in the example of Kobe Bryant, where he passed when his daughter was 6 months old. He did not update his trust when she was born. So when he passed, she was 6 months old, and it had to go to court to get her added to the trust. So then it became not private.
Because something had to happen. That's good. And that's a good thing for you to hear what she just said, which is there are life events that happen. That's why we say, we said this on this show several times, to have a review with your financial services person every 6 months to a year. Or when something new happens, you get married, you have a baby. So when something big happens, you want to go ahead and update that. And for your trust, or to begin estate planning, by the way, when you have a trust, typically in the trust is also a will, especially if you have children. Okay, because you can't just write in the trust in there, okay, I want my child to go to such and such and such and such. So there's still an addendum type of will that is prepared inside of the trust. There's several. A trust, guys, is like a big empty safe, a big empty vault, and then all the different things go into this big empty vault, which includes your will. So like she said, like Saran said, you have a couple of things you can do, right? You can just go online, Google. There's Rocket Lawyer, there's, you know, all these different law places that you can go and get it done on your own. Even if you do that, maybe you want to just seek a little bit of advice from someone to make sure that what you have done is like if you didn't do anything, right? But in the most cases, that's going to be fine. And then mid-level is if you contact us. We work with a company specifically that does this for you, that helps you to create your estate plan, that helps you to get all the documents completed. Then you get it back and notarize it. But now you've known that it's going to pass all of those things. So that's kind of a mid-level cost, right? You have your low cost, you have your mid-level cost.
One more thing. Just think about, you know how they say if you're a construction person, you have a construction company, you never want to work on your own house. That's why you have to hire.
Well, you know what?
Never get it finished.
You know what? I'm not gonna totally agree with that. Maybe if you're a lawyer, you don't want to defend yourself in the thing. But if you can build your stuff yourself in your basement, build your stuff. What the heck you need to pay somebody else for?
I'm not saying that you're not going to do it. I'm just saying it never gets done. I know.
Well, you're right. You're right. Because we are our own worst customers. We're like, I can put that off. I can put that off. So you're absolutely right about that. And then of course, high cost is going to see an estate attorney in your state. Yeah. And especially for people who have things in multi-states, you need to pay a lawyer. You need
and there are some really good ones. I know a really good one here in California. And but let's talk about those people we talked.
I'm ready. I want to do the first one.
I want to get into the tea.
I want to do the first one because this was a Photoshop.
Okay.
Go ahead. What was that?
A list of like about 28 celebrities or famous people or well-known people who died what they call intestate. They did not have a will because they say it's called intestate because when you have a will, it's called the last will and testament. And so if you don't have it, you're intestate, right? And so the very first one, would you believe, that died without a will is your 16th president of the United States of these United States of America.
Which America?
Lincoln.
Which America?
These United States of America. Your former POTUS, the 16th POTUS, Abraham Lincoln, when he was killed, did not have a will. He was serving in the highest office in the world and did not have a will.
Wow.
So that just goes to show that it's not just poor people or unknown people or regular people or Black people. It's everybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
And,
wow.
The second one is very sad, to an extent, is our beloved Martin Luther King Jr. did not have anything together. And I know as I was reading through some of the documents, their family went through a lot of court and disagreement. And, they ended up setting up like a corporation, and there was a lot of uncertainty and disagreement there too. And so again, we got to really think about it. We have some of the recent people too, but when we started really, because we talked about them, like we could talk about some of these folks on top of head, but let's make it real. Let's talk about a lot of people because we don't want you to be them.
Right.
I don't care if all you have in your name is a car. Get some paperwork together. In some states you can name a beneficiary in your car. I know for certain you can do it in Maryland because I did it.
Guess what though? Listen to this, right? When you have a business, a lot of us are running around with businesses, right?
All day long.
Right. And you know what else? Martin Luther King, things kept happening after his death. And
Really?
that's his name that keeps going on and on. Right here in Atlanta a couple of years ago, they were in the news fighting about how the things that were set up in his memory, how those things should be. So even with us and our business, I don't care if it's your crafting business and you make 10 t-shirts a month. I don't care if it's your candle business. I guess that's crafting too. I don't know. I didn't even know that this was called crafting when I started making t-shirts. Like, why? I don't even consider myself a crafter, but okay. But whatever it is, you have to make some provisions for your business as well, right? And this is the reason why it's important for us to talk about it, because if you didn't even think about it, how would you know?
That's right.
And I think the thing is too, as we go down the list, because you keep diverting from my list, which I'm really excited to talk about, obviously, but is to just, what would you do? We think, and then my favorite thing is when some of our regular people, I don't like to use the word poor, some of our regular folks, day-to-day folks, I don't want to pay estate taxes. Well, guess what? You gotta reach like $8 million federally to pay estate taxes, and depending on your state is lower. In Maryland, it's like 5 million. So you have to have that much assets, and that's not even a big number. It's a good number, but it's not even a big number, because you could hit that by accident.
Not
if you start hustling, if you're really working. But the thing is don't be afraid of that either, right?
Right.
And then we say, oh, we don't want to pay estate taxes, but you're gonna pay probate, and you
right.
Pay the estimated value of that estate. You're gonna pay for probate court before you go to court, before anything is awarded. And then if you pay, and then the person paying the probate fees might not be the person awarded the money.
Oh.
Guess what? Yes, that's true. That is definitely true, because everything else got to get paid first before it comes back to you. But listen to this though. I don't want to keep diverting from your list, like you said, which, by the way, all of our lists probably are intertwined. But no, I actually have another list that had those same names on there as well. But so listen though. One of the things I heard the other day, we don't like to get all political, but Uncle Joe was thinking of making that estate taxes come down to 1 million. So y'all better really and truly start.
Y'all better back it up. He need to back it up.
Look.
He need to back it up.
This is when I'm.
You know why I'm not worried? You know why I'm not worried?
What?
Because my other friends, they gonna make sure it don't go down. My friends that in that
your January high places, huh?
No, her January 6th friends.
Those aren't my friends.
Her January 6th friends are gonna make sure that doesn't happen. Oh my God!
They don't have estate tax issues, but my other friends have estate tax.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but 1 million. That's crazy.
People too. Tupac.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now,
I think he was still, I don't remember where he was arrested, but his mother ended up being awarded everything.
That's good.
And I believe she's also passed at this point too. So
what? I
think she did.
I wonder if she got it done. Maybe she did. That's why it's not in the news.
She may have gotten a trust done, which would be smart. But there's a lot of people in here. Howard Hughes, the entrepreneur and billionaire. He used to do all the fun stuff. I saw his house. One of his houses was sold on $1 million listing at some point. I don't know when, because I'm watching some old episodes or whatever. But just some of your favorites. James Brown.
That one was sad.
James Brown.
They fought and fought and fought.
So here's the thing with it. It says he passed with a will, but it wasn't in the best shape. He passed in 2006. His estate was still being fought in court as of 2018. The main point of concentration centered around whether the person he was married to was his legal wife at the time that they passed. And so it's a lot, you know. And there was one young person on here too. She was a young famous person. Was it Amy Winehouse? Amy Winehouse, the
Oh
songwriter.
yeah.
Nothing.
Wow.
Young. I think she was like 35 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And you like Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. Yep, Jimi Hendrix is on here. Bob Marley was on here. This one I wanted to. Marvin Gaye. And so here's the thing: when you start getting to the singers like Marvin Gaye and Billie Holiday and Sam Cooke, who all died without wills, their assets were still generating income.
Yep.
That's the thing.
And so that became a challenge because they thought Michael Jackson passed without one, but they found one later. But the thing is, and think about how much money it's still generating, right? They found his paperwork later. But the thing is, it's like they didn't have it.
Sonny Bono too. I don't know if you remember Sonny and Cher. And then the Love Child came up. The Love Child showed up.
Yeah, and they had a baby come out of nowhere now. You know, what was that movie that Tyler Perry did that one year? Meet the Browns. When they just invited the love child to the whole thing, funeral, and only one person in the family knew. I mean, it's like you never know, right?
Yo, Pablo Picasso.
Pablo Picasso. Think about all his art.
Oh, all that art.
Yeah.
Nate Dogg.
Yeah. So these are all things to think about. I mean, the list is long. Chadwick Boseman. Let's talk about him. He's recent, right? It said that according to his documents, things are going to be split between his widow, Taylor Simone Leward, and his parents, right? And so it revealed that there was about $3.8 million prior to court fees. And depending on your state, your court fees will be a set percentage. So it could be 10%, 16%, 20%, whatever. And then it gets distributed, right?
Just that alone should be reason to set it up, right?
Yeah.
Just that
alone. Even if you're worth even if you worth $50,000, you need a will. I mean, besides, you know, and we always talk about insurance and not asking anybody for anything and going through all that. But the thing is that on the other side of it is, you know, if you do have a couple dollars, I don't care if you have $50,000. I don't care if you have $25,000. You don't want somebody fighting over it, right?
Right.
Now, there was one on here that was even more interesting. John Denver. Guy without a will. It says his first ex-wife, and we were talking about this pre-show. His first ex-wife, Annie Martell, was named the executor of the estate. She proceeded to divide his assets equally between his 3 children and one biological and 2 adopted. So that was his first ex-wife. Where's the current wife? And what did she do? It didn't say anything about that, right? So, and then even, we can drop this list online. You can Google it. I mean, none of this is a secret. Aretha Franklin, we saw that all play out. We watched the beautiful service that she had, which was like 9 hours long, but we all sat there. We wanted to honor her. And that's the thing. And even, you know who didn't come up? DMX didn't come up. I believe he did not have one either.
Right. He didn't.
He was engaged, but
and had a child. And she had a child.
And she had a child, but he also had a lot of other kids.
A lot of children.
And I believe they're in the state of New York. And in the state of New York, it goes to the kids first. It don't go to a fiance. So let's get to that. If you're the fiance, congratulations, you the fiance.
That's right.
However, if the spouse, and you know, you have a male fiance, whatever you're, whichever side you're on, right? If you're the woman or the man, you're still a fiance. If the other person passes away, you have rights to nothing.
Nothing.
No
social security. No,
So
nothing.
you don't get Social Security unless your name is changed to beneficiary or anything. You don't get that unless unless something is changed to your name. So waiting until the big day, I understand that you want to wait to the big day, but really once you've decided to be together, and if you've decided that you're going to do a prenuptial or whatever you decide to do, when you're there doing that, get the will and get all that stuff done. Listen, I want this to go to blah 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 blah. We're getting she'll be my wife when we get married, but I want right now, today, I want to name her this or him this.
And
depending on if you're the husband,
what?
if you're the husband or the wife or whatever. What is the groom or the bride? And use my word.
But and also though, Saran, even with that, even if people if people just, like, for instance, put your name, let's say, like you said, if your name is not on there, even if your name is on there, if there's not a trust, that can be contested. That's the whole thing of contestability, where someone is coming and saying, hold up, she's not entitled, or he's not entitled to any of that. And that's how it can be contested. And that's where we're talking about why a trust is important.
Well,
right?
let me tell you my will story. This is the story that I use. So a will, did we lose everybody? Oh,
I did that. Sorry.
Oh, okay. A will is great. You should have one. Versus a trust. The difference is this. The will is like, think about your favorite 12th or 13th century movie. Maybe you watched Game of Thrones, or maybe you watched what's the other one that we just watched? With the Queen. Whatever.
Wait, there's something about that here in Atlanta that I want to go see.
What'd you say?
What?
The experience when you get dressed up like the Queen. Anyway, when the
Queen is from Guyana, by the way. Did you guys know that?
The Prince, you remember him? I'm gonna think it's gonna pop in my head later. But anyway, it's kind of like being back then, where the guy rides around on the horse with a piece of parchment paper to every town and nails up a big sign that says, "So and so has passed away. Come and state your claim to their assets. Do they owe you money?" Right? That's the deal. It's letting everybody know that you're not here, and if they owe you money, come to the court and claim it. Right? Because wills have to be published in the newspaper. Probate. It has to be said, hey, if you look at the newspaper, and I do it online now, but you can go and pull probate lists and see who's going to probate, right? And it say, come and file your claim against their estate, right? Trust is like, you show up to the T and it's just you, and they pass you your money and you going about your business.
Right.
Huge difference. Huge difference. I mean, it's like, Robin Hood, or I don't know why I can't think of that show. It was great. I watched the whole thing. I watched both of them. I'm trying to think of it. There's a lot of publicness of the will. Not saying do not have a will, but I'm letting you know that there is a huge public piece to it. But when you tie it in with a trust, it is not. Now, the only other thing you could kind of do, but I'm not advising you to do, because again, this is information. You have to make sure you have your beneficiaries named on everything. PayPal allows you to name a beneficiary. Did you know that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Allows you to name a beneficiary.
Dash, Robinhood.
Robinhood allows you to name a beneficiary. Anywhere you have money, they will let you name a beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
Even your bank, you can go. Now, it depends on your bank. Some banks, like I go to Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo wants you to come in and sit with them. You can't just, you have to go and do it in person. And what you can do is go and what they do at the bank, it's not called a beneficiary. You set up what is called payable upon death.
POD,
so
yes.
Now when your mail comes, it'll say POD, and it'll say the person's name that it's payable to. And that makes it easy, because if you have the payable upon death, that means your loved one could go into that bank and say, hey, here's a death certificate. My loved one passed away. What do I do next? They can say, oh, it says payable on death to Mary Sue. Are you Mary Sue? Oh, great. Let me see your ID. Okay, hold on. Here's your check. And you walk out.
Can I tell you the ramifications if you don't have that? Even if you are married, it could take up to 3 months.
3 months, that's a little bit of time.
That's what happened to me.
Right.
We're talking about real life stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to me. It was 3 months the bank said, oh, and I've forgotten. When you get married, you have that one, I have mine, and then we have joint. And you forget to do the real important things when you combine families and finances. You forget about that because you don't think somebody's not going to be here. But you've got to start. Then we got to start thinking and being proactive about
right. And
like
so and like we said, right, taking action is important. So one of the first things you can do before you, if you want to think about whatever, is start to do those things. Your things like the bank accounts, and make sure you have the POD set up, payable upon death, or even if you have a home, you can do a transfer on that where the deed is transferred. I'm not giving any advice. I'm just letting you know these are things that can do. You want to make
we do our disclaimer
stuff like that.
Yeah, and it depends. It's always, I put the disclaimer on everything.
Okay, good.
But the other things, it depends on your mortgage company. Some mortgage companies may not do the deed transfer. So you want to know that up front for what you need to do. So, like, for example, and you and I talked about this. We both have family members in New York. It's a bear to get things transferred in New York. If there's no documentation, even especially because New York is a little bit different because they have the condos, and then they have the co-ops, and they have the associations. They have these 13,000 other departments that need to be involved.
Oh my God.
So you have no idea. So it's important to really think about and have those plans. But, on the flip side, with my family, there's one co-op that we have that as long as there was a family member on the paperwork that lived there, you just went and transferred it to the family member. It was nothing. It's like, just move in, and tell us how, and pay the money, and so there's differences, there's layers and levels to thinking about different things. And then even as far as getting access to your apartment or your home, if there's no paperwork, you may not be able to get in. So if you have an apartment, let's say the person has an apartment, well, that rental company is not going to be able to let you in if you don't have the rights to be there.
That's right. And you got to wait.
Now, don't get me wrong, they may dispose of your stuff, but they won't let you in.
Yeah, and you have to wait until the judge rules that whomever is the administrator, to be able to go in there and touch stuff, because you're not supposed to go in there and take anything out, remove anything, get rid of stuff. You're not supposed to do that, and you could be liable for those things. And another one of the other things, like, you always have to check and see if this is with your state or with the financial institution. If you own a home, you can typically put somebody else on the deed before something happened. And then if something happens, it will automatically goes to the next person. Here's the problem with that, though. You might be lovey-dovey with them today, but then tomorrow you're not lovey-dovey with them. But guess what? They own half of that now. So what are you going to do?
First of all, I didn't put nobody on my deed. This is Saran. Okay, I put all mine in the trust, so it goes exactly to the foundation I've chosen.
But I'm just saying, right? These are the things we got to think about.
But that's a good point. And so to say that maybe you don't want to put anybody on deed, then maybe you own property, then maybe you should consider a trust, because then you can put your trust as the beneficiary, and then your trust does what you tell it to do. You can say in the trust, I want my home sold, I want all the contents sold, or I want these contents sold and these contents preserved, or to go here, there, or wherever. And then when it's sold, I want the proceeds to go here, here, and here.
Or you could say, I don't want it sold, and and here is the money that's going to come from here to continue to pay for it, and it must stay in the family. This is why people's stuff used to pass down from generation to generation, because there were things in there, that provisions that were set up, that you couldn't sell the property. You couldn't do this again. It got passed and passed and passed and passed and passed. And that, my friends, is generational wealth, not the crap we run around here, everybody talking about. I'm getting generational wealth, but it's just for me. Like, what are you talking about?
I heard a guy today, and you heard him too, and he said, I ain't leaving nothing
Right. And he was super wealthy. He said, I want all my money go to charity.
I was like, okay, I hear you.
And he's got kids. And some of the things that he was saying, right? Because he was like, you can't just hand it to the kids. And I agree. I say that you don't hand wealth to kids, and then the kids don't know what to do. So they go out and they spend it and they do all sorts of things or whatever. You pass down, you're passing down knowledge, you're passing down everything so that they can know how to handle it. Plus you put in, that's the other thing, guys, with your trust, right? Something happens to you, you don't want to hand an 18-year-old $1 million or a 25-year-old $30 million or something like that. But in your trust, you can specify ages and things that you want to happen. Don't be specifying crazy things like if they are still gay or if they did not get married. Girl, I have a client that said that. She said, I'm taking her out of my will. Matter of fact, I'm going to write in there that if she's in a relationship with a woman, that she's not to get anything. Now, I say, if that's so serious, why don't you just stop right now with the person?
Well, let's bring it back, because I don't want to put all my personal feelings about that on the street. But the thing is like you said, you have those stipulations, you name your trustees, you have your things set up, and it has the space to do the things that you want to do where it goes forward. Now, you know who's really good about this? Our brothers and sisters of the Jewish community are really good about passing down wealth, because it is an expectation that the grandkids are going to get $500,000 to $1 million when the grandparents pass away. There's a plan in place when that happens. And we have to get to the point where we're having those types of conversations and communication so that we know that it's there. And you can have stipulations in there like, you know, for example, well, they need to have finished some type of advanced schooling. It doesn't necessarily have to be college. They have to have some certifications. They have to be working. They have to have done, you know, or had some education, right, in some specific areas. Something simple, but you could be, you know, a little bit more specific, maybe not as concerned as your client. And I'm not judging her preferences. Those are hers, right? I wouldn't put that in anything like that in mind. But, you know, you can set it up to where, you know, you have it set a certain way. You know, I have a pet peeve about drug use. I'm not leaving money to anybody or anything that someone who is a drug abuser. You know, I have a huge pet peeve about that. So if that's the thing, then my trustees know they don't get nothing from me, because you're not going to smoke up my money. I'm saying we ain't doing smoking.
Well, right? Just like that, you can put whatever it is that you want to make those stipulations. I mean, even stipulations like, oh, I want you to have an advanced degree in medicine. What if the child didn't want to become a doctor or something like that? So sometimes even those things, but the fact is you could put whatever you want in there, and then you could speak from the grave.
Right, but then you can say things. And so for me, you know, what if they don't want to have a medical degree? Well, I prefer that you have an advanced degree. I prefer that you at least have an associate. Well, maybe you should at least have a GED. Let's not set the bar so low, right? But, I mean, in my mind. But there should be something happening in your world to show that you're doing it, right? I mean, one of the things, you know, as I think about it, is like, I need you to have taken some financial education. You know, for me, maybe I want you to go and get your life insurance license, and I want you to take some continuing ed classes on some specific areas, because I want you to understand the money that you're receiving. You know, and the thing is you don't have to do all that, but you can. And the thing is, and I love the word you said, speak from the grave. We should have called this speak from the grave instead of wills and trust. Speak from the grave.
Yeah, I like that.
Like, ooh, that's spooky.
I like that.
You know, thinking about it that way. And the thing is that it is, you know, a gift for someone. And it is an honor to be named someone's beneficiary on any level, you know. And so when we start to reverence those type of things and respect them, and not behave in a sense of an entitlement, you know, and we start to respect the overflow and understand that, oh, I have a responsibility when I receive this money, or when someone receives, you know, an inheritance, to grow it and to make sure that it continues to the next person, or this or something, you continues to the next person and then the next generation and the next generation, then it really becomes a thing of honor if we can put together and make it honorable to be in that position, and let people understand that this is an honor to have been named this. Right now, we're not getting into the craziness because we've seen enough TV about what happens when sometimes in some families when folks die because everybody thinks they're entitled to something. Right now, don't get me wrong. If you have a family member and you had someone who was the primary caregiver for the family member for the 10 years, or maybe they were sick, and then you come out of nowhere and you didn't never even come and change one diaper, and now you want everything, then yeah, that might be a fight. That might be a little fight. But it's just, to really, consider, the sanity and the reverence and the honor of that person becoming an ancestor, and just, respecting that and saying, let's sit down and really think about this and be fair. And it doesn't mean that someone always gets more or less, but to really do it. But you won't have to make those decisions if someone has a trust. And,
right.
And if you have a will, you won't have to make those decisions either, because it'll go to court and the judge will make the decision.
Right. And you make it easy for family members, make it easy for them to just make decisions because you've already made the decision.
Correct.
Yes. And it's not always about equality anyway. I think a lot of times it's more about equity, and and so those are some conversations to be had. But while we're talking about this, about wills and trusts and payable and debt accounts and transfer on debt accounts and things like that, some other things that we want to make sure that you have when you're 18, and even parents of children that are 18 or college kids, you want to make sure that your kid has a living will done, an advance directive, and basically that is
and the power of attorney.
Yeah, but I'm just going to go down a little bit, but it basically that is to make sure if the person, in the event that they cannot speak, that someone will be able to carry out whatever they want to happen to them. And that could happen in the blink of an eye. Just a car accident or something can render someone unable to speak for them. And I'm not saying forever. They just might be unconscious or fall into a coma or something like that. And if you're a parent of a child that's in college, you definitely want that to happen, because now that child is an adult and they don't have to share or give you any information. But if you have that in place, that's that's definitely something that you want to have. And
it's not about sharing. It's not about sharing. It's about you're no longer the authority once they turn 18,
exactly
in the medical. So you need those papers so that if something happens, you can be there for the child. Now, a lot of times they do figure out a way to make it work, but just having that paperwork in advance,
well, I'm going to tell you,
simplifies things.
It does simplify. And the reason why a lot of times when a lot of times it's not the same mom and dad from the same house. You might have like 4 parents now, because you have mom remarried and dad remarried, and now you have 4 parents, and everybody is having a different way of how this person should be taken care of. And this kind of thing is what stops all of that kind of confusion, so that people can more concentrate on figuring out about you getting well instead of it being power plays, right?
Carmen, it happens every day too. This kind of stuff happens every day.
Yeah. And I was going to say also with a trust, guys, when you do a trust, that's not once and done. You are the person that's in charge of your trust until the day you die. So you get to make changes. You can, so don't let that be a stopping point that if I make a trust, then you can't make change. You can make changes. If every week is it that you need to go back in there and change out somebody or move that or whatever, you can do that every single week until you die. So
every single week would get expensive now.
Well, it all depends. They might be their own attorney. They might be their own, whatever.
You want to make sure you're making things and keep, like I have, I trust, and I keep a little note of things I know I want to change, and about, I want to change because I'm scheduled with my attorney to meet, on
Right.
a annual basis. So I'm like, all right, well, this is what I want to change.
Now, do you have
I
to
make
file
myself a
that
sticky note.
when you make changes to your trust? Does it have to be filed somewhere, or just make a new like an addendum or something like that?
They print you a new one.
Okay.
You get a new one to print because it has to be notarized and whatnot.
Notarized.
And
Okay.
then and I just updated. I keep a book. I have a book with all my documents in it, and I've
Yeah, I'm
added
gonna
some
do
other
that.
important documents to it that would probably be needed if something were to happen. But at the end of the day, my trustee knows where it is.
Right.
Let
Okay,
me
so
tell you
then
something. I as we're talking, I'm making mental notes because I have something I need to do right now. And
well, that's what
this
these
is
conversations
real.
are for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is real.
That's what these
Yeah.
conversations are for. But also making, well, the living will, by the way, is just so it's just so your wishes are carried out in the event that you cannot speak. In addition to that is a healthcare proxy,
Yeah.
right? And a healthcare proxy is where someone can make decisions for you because typically those two in Georgia, it's called a healthcare directive, and it's the living will and the healthcare proxy all together. So that's the person that's going to be making decisions for you, but the living will says what decisions you want made, and thing. Then of course you need to have a power of attorney. You need to have a durable power of attorney, and the durable power of attorney allows a person to make like legal decisions for you if you're not competent to do so. You need a power of attorney, and you need a financial power of attorney. Y'all help me. What's the word? It's called. It encompasses all of that because there are power of attorneys that die when you die, and then there's ones that can continue on. I think the durable
Irrevocable.
is the one that is. I think it's
irrevocable something.
No, irrevocable typically has to do with trust, and like my mom has what is called a irrevocable trust. By the way, that's another thing we didn't talk about. We talked about trust. There's revocable trust. That's the one where you can make changes to it. But then there's irrevocable
and then
trust.
Funding of
irrevocable trust. You cannot make any
so
changes.
What happens is when you have a trust, I have a trust, it's revocable right now because I can make changes. When I pass,
but my mom is living.
When I pass, it becomes irrevocable.
That's true. But my mom is living right now and she has an irrevocable trust.
Well,
and
she
so
probably
dependent on special circumstances, it is determined which trust you will need to have. Most of us that are going in our day-to-day doing our business need to have a revocable trust, and then once we pass, becomes irrevocable, means nothing else can be changed after that. Some people even have what is called a funeral planning declaration. So they state everything that they want to happen. That way there's no fights, between siblings or between co-step siblings or husbands or pre-husbands or whatever and things like that. There's no none of that. So these are all
and so if I want a white horse and carriage and doves, I can put that in my funeral plan.
As long as you have the money.
I don't want that, but I'm just saying.
Wait a minute. Let me say something.
If you have the money to pay for it, sure.
Let me say something. I wanted to post this. A friend of mine, my cousin went to a funeral. It was beautiful. The lady had a beautiful coach horse-drawn carriage, and it was so pretty. And it made me feel like, man, she really planned that. So her
family planned it, because most human beings, we don't want to plan for our exit. We're excited about when we get here. We're excited when the baby comes. We have all baby showers and all that.
Yep.
But we're not excited when it's time to go. Here's the thing: you can't take nothing with you. You came in here
right.
naked.
So I want to have my funeral like,
naked, but you'll be naked.
I want to have my funeral like the father in Coming to America. Remember, he had his funeral while he was alive, and then he died after
my goodness! Yeah, that was a good one. That was good though. That was good.
Why can't I have that? You know?
I didn't say you couldn't. I didn't say
And
you
then,
couldn't.
and then maybe if I don't die right then, we can have another party the next week and the next week or the following month.
Well, let me say something. I just Googled how many different types of trusts there are. There's testamentary, Q-tip, spendthrift, Totten, constructive, general skipping, life insurance, special needs. You got to see somebody who knows
Family
what
trust.
they're
There's
doing.
family trust.
There's
I mean,
family trust.
that's not even the list, the whole list.
Google the types of wills, guys. Google types of wills. There are so many different types of wills.
And this is why we say you need to get in contact with someone who can help you to navigate the sea of information, because you could have some things set up and then not be, the right thing, which is why I personally went to a Maryland attorney. And I spent time talking to her, telling her about the things I was thinking and what I wanted to do. And she said, this is going to give you what you need. Here's all the benefits of doing it this way. And I could say, oh, okay, well, what about this benefit? I wanted to be able to do this too. And she said, okay, well, we can do, and so we worked around what I was thinking and what I wanted. And so that's why it's important to really engage with a professional to have things set up. Now, the other important thing about having a trust, when you go that route, is there's a very important step in a trust. If you miss this step, then it won't work the way you want it to. It's called funding the trust. And the way you fund the trust is you make sure you either pay your attorney to do it, or you have to make sure you go and change the beneficiary on everything you own to the trust. That's funding it, because otherwise, if the trust is not the beneficiary, it is not funded.
It's not a part of the trust.
I mean, I've heard stories of folks who parents had trust, they've passed. However, the parents didn't make the trust the beneficiary on everything. And so whatever the name beneficiary was on those things that were outside the trust went to the person that was named the beneficiary, because it's not contestable for the most part. And so it's important to fund the trust. And so we've had this conversation, it's our second time having it, but we thought it was important to really bring it back and talk about some of our famous folks who haven't had it. And the one we didn't mention, which was recent, which, I had a whole fight with somebody on the internet about, I think. Maybe it was in my head, because I don't usually argue with people on the internet, which was Anthony Johnson, who passed away, better known as Ezell from Friday. Because not only did he pass without a will, there was also no finances to bury him. And so next week, Aaliyah is going to be bringing us home to talk a little bit more about, because many of us make ourselves uninsurable in our heads. You ain't even talk to Nair underwriter at the insurance company or Nair life insurance agent, not nary one. You just decided you was uninsurable. There are some people that may have some medical challenges which may make it difficult to insure them or more costly to insure them. But there are ways to make sure that you can be covered at a minimum for final expense, even up into just plain old-fashioned burial programs that don't pay anybody but the funeral home, right? And we can help you with all of those. And so the thing is that we count ourselves out of everything.
Everything.
Oh, I can't get that. Well, how do you know? Did you try? Did you try more than once? Did you go back and fix what maybe was wrong and then do it again? So, but the thing is that we really, 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 we got to get out of this cycle of not doing anything.
Counting ourselves out too.
Yeah, and we talk about this too. We get monkey brain. Oh, you probably watching our video right now, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get on that. Don't get monkey brain.
What do you call it?
Monkey brain, where you just kind of going everywhere. They just wilding outside, right? But the thing is that you don't leave the site of an event without taking action. My good uncle Tony Robbins, my rich uncle Tony Robbins says that all the time. Don't leave the site of an event without taking action. So if this is something that you want to do, then you need to be messaging us to set up an appointment at Millionaire Ladies Mob so we can get you on the right direction. You need to be doing that now. You don't leave the site of an event without taking some action. And the action is setting the appointment, reaching out to one of us or all of us, or just emailing milliondollarladiesmob@gmail.com. But you want to take action immediately, because we wait too long. And in 2 seconds, when this video is over, you can have 13 other things looking for your attention, and it's going to go out of here. And by the time you remember it, we hope that nothing has happened.
That's right.
Because we don't want you to wait. And I don't say that in a spooky way. I say that in a, sometimes we get into it for a long time. I'm getting to it. And then it's 3 years later.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 years later.
Get around to it.
And so, stop getting around to it and get it on your list, put it on your calendar, take some action, reach out to one of us so that we can follow up with you and put a little pressure on you so that you can make the decisions you need to make. Because guess what? Again, you're not getting out alive. And I can say that with a smile because it's facts.
That's right.
That's right.
Are we going to bring it home?
Right.
It's been an hour? Oh, more.
Yeah, it has. This was a great conversation. And again, to reiterate what Saran says, take action. It really makes no sense for us to get the information and then don't do anything with it. It makes no sense for us to keep complaining that we didn't know, but then once you knew, you still didn't do anything with it. So take action. And we've given you several action steps to take today. We want you to reach out to us or to someone, an attorney or someone that trust, some professional, to ask more questions. But we are here. We're here every
day. I have a Maryland attorney and a DC attorney that I can connect you with. So, right. And I have a Virginia one too. I have to just email her and make sure she's still doing it. But,
so we have, so we are here for you to reach out. So number one, there are things that you can do on your own that's not going to cost you a dime. You want to go set up those payable on debt types of accounts where you can. She just gave you all the ones. You can now do it on PayPal. You can do it on Robinhood. You can do it on, we definitely know that you can do it on your bank accounts and things like that. Ask questions about your mortgage. If you and the missus or you and the mister have been living together for 26 years and you own the home, but you want to make sure that the family don't come take the home from her if something happens to you or vice versa, then go ahead and put them on the deed. That's a inexpensive way, a no cost way of getting.
Well, it's not free. Depends on you say. It's not free.
No cost to low cost way of getting it done. This has to do with you can call your thing. My husband, when we bought, this is our second home that we've bought. Right. But we did all sorts of different things. Things happened during home refinancing, this, that, or whatever. And I know that my name is on the deed for my home. Now, something happened, they're going after him to pay it, but because it's right there, but my name is on the deed. You can put somebody's name on the deed, but you have to remember about all the ramifications, right? Because now if she gets sued, they can come after that, and that right. Home can be sold to pay that debt. There's all sorts of things that can happen, but there's some things that you can do. You can contact us. We work with an estate planning firm that we can get all of those things done for you in a mid-cost type of way. You can contact an attorney or can contact us, and we will put you in contact with an attorney. I know that I don't think that Aaliyah has ever, and Shalonda probably never listed on here, but they both have something that they can connect you with attorneys. That's another business. One of these days we're going to come on here and talk about different types of side business and side hustles that's
good
the only
idea.
thing we're going to talk about on one of these things. But that's another
You can really call this Side Hustle Queens instead of Millionaire Ladies.
Right, Side Hustle Queens. There you go. So, but hey, somebody probably just stole that from you. But
it probably already exists.
Probably do. But come and talk to you about that. We just want you to just take some action. Last but not least, do not count yourself out. Do not decide that you do not qualify. Every one of us on here can insure you no matter where you are. We have companies that will insure you on your deathbed. Just don't die tomorrow because you that was not a good thing to laugh about. I am so sorry. But no, the truth, not real estate people, life insurance people got weird sense of humor, I tell you. But for sure, there are even insurance companies that will insure you when you are even in a nursing home. So do not count yourself out. And there are people that are in nursing homes for several years and things like that. So there is a solution for you no matter what. So speak to someone. With that, let me give the ladies a quick 30-second outro. No, 10-second outro.
10 seconds after you just outro for 5 minutes. I'm going to take as much time as I would like.
I'm going to hit the end button. Boom.
I am Saran Baker. I can be reached at saran10k.com. And as you saw here, we are also hiring in all 50 states to train and educate folks in the financial services industry. And to be very transparent, we would love to have some more of our melanated queens on our team that we can get you trained and educated, licensed and trained. So that's my announcement. And join me on Monday at 8:30 p.m. I have a special guest coming on with me, Mr. Indra Ali. He is a spiritual teacher in self-mastery, but he will be joining me on Monday, and we are talking about money, all things money, dirty little money secrets, but we're talking about money and how it's spiritual. Money is spiritual. So join me on Monday at 8:30 live on my YouTube channel. Just search for Saran Baker.
Thank you, Saran. My name is Aaliyah Sherrod. I've had a wonderful time here tonight. These things are near and dear to my heart. I help provide solutions to families and people that are Medicare eligible, employer groups, and I help you save money and get incredible health coverage. And I'm also an advocate for women in insurance. And so if you're looking for a career, we are the people to talk to. It is a great and rewarding career. Sometimes you wear your heart on your sleeve. You want to help everybody. And a lot of people, they don't hear us. But we're speaking. And that's why we do this every week, no matter what, because we care and we want to make sure that our whole communities are covered. What is our goal? $1 billion? That's our goal. So thank you for joining again.
Yes.
Yes. Aaliyah 10K.
Yep. And I am Carmen. You can find me at carmen10k.com. I am a superhero because I am a superhero. You can call me Melanin Millionaire because I go around helping people to become millionaires and truly creating generational wealth to close that wealth gap. Melanin Millionaire. That's who I am. Peace.
Oh, wait. We can't forget Shalonda's not here tonight, but you can reach her, ShalondaKaiserMitchell.com. She goes by Finance Coach Shay, ShalondaKaiserMitchell.com. So you can reach out to her. She's a certified financial coach on top of all the other stuff that we do too.
Awesomeness. Awesomeness.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And remember, haters gonna hate.
Take action.